Hello everyone, welcome to my new record update, which I haven't done in a long time because late last summer I spent so much money that I had to find a way to cut down on my spending, and I decided to take a 4-month break on buying records. But I gave myself 2 exceptions to this, and first one was because I knew that there were going to be Queen reissues and I wanted to get one of those. So I gave myself a permission to go to the record store once and buy 2 records. And I had decided on which Queen reissue I would buy, but by the time I went to the record store I had changed my mind and I ended up buying Made in Heaven. When this was originally released in '95, I didn't buy this because I didn't think that making an album from unfinished songs and demo tapes was a very good idea. But this turned out to be better than what I expected. I was pleasantly surprised. So yeah, I like this better than what I expected, but still I have to say that on Queen scale, this is just an average album. Like I said, I like it, but it will never be among my favorite Queen albums. Okay, the other album that I had decided to buy was actually sold out, so I ended up looking for something else, and I decided to buy David Gilmour, Rattle That Lock. And I know that this has got a very, very positive reviews. A lot of people have liked this, but I don't think it's that great. I prefer the first solo album to this one. I don't want to sound too negative about it. I think it's an okay album, but it's just when compared to the unanimous praise that this album has got, I have to say that I don't like this that much. An okay album, but not that great. The other exception was that I knew that I was going to see Michael Monroe live, and I decided that I would buy his album from that gig. And here it is, Blackout Stage. I like this album, but it's not as great as I was hoping it would be. But I have to say that the previous album, Horns and Halos, or Halos and Horns, when I bought that, I didn't like it that much, but over this year or 2 years that I've had it and been listening to it, I've grown to like it a lot more, so maybe this one will turn out to be the same way. There are great songs here, but then there are songs that I don't like that much, sort of average. So maybe over time I will learn to like this just as much as I like Halos and Horns. So yeah, those first 2 months they were completely easy. I had no problems staying away from record store. I listened to my recent purchases, I listened to my older purchases. So yeah, no problems whatsoever. But after visiting the record store, the next 2 months were just pain. I was on the internet every day looking for records that I will buy that one and I will buy that one. So it was a great relief to finally go to record stores, and let's go check in those. Otis Redding, The Dock of the Bay, his final album released after his death. I've mentioned somewhere that I am actually not as big soul fan as I think I am, or as I would like to be, because mostly I think soul artists were singles artists, and I'm mostly an album fan. So that's why I hadn't bought this one. I read somewhat recently a review where they said that this was a departure from his earlier style. So I thought that, okay, as I think that this title track is excellent, I thought that let's give this one a chance. But actually the title track is the only one which is a departure from his earlier style. So in that sense this is a disappointment to me, but I have to say that I like his style and I like this album. But it was a disappointment because it was not a departure from his earlier style. And by the way, this is a mono reissue, which somebody will be very happy about, but not me. Okay. Von Herzen Brothers, 9 Lives. This is their previous album. I've always been interested in this, and I always knew that I would buy this, but I just kept pushing off the purchase because when this was released, one of these songs got played a lot on the radio, and any kind of overexposure is always a red flag to me. So it took me this long to finally buy this one. But it's another link on a great chain of fabulous albums from Von Herzen Brothers. And every Christmas I buy one, or I try to buy one Christmas album, and I actually tried to find this one last year, but it was sold out, so it took me until this year to find this. Los Straitjackets, the season 4. Classic Christmas songs as a great instrumental versions with a couple of new songs thrown in. And Black Rose, 3 Snakes and 1 Charm. When this was released in 96 was this, I was actually sort of grown out of them. I just didn't have any interest in buying this, especially after reading some reviews where this was given a bad review. So I was like, yeah, okay, some other day. But now that this was released on vinyl, I was finally got the interest on buying this one, and I'm glad I did, because when this was released, I was expecting them to take the style of the album Amorica and take it even further out, whereas I was more a fan of the first 2 albums. But this surprisingly is a step back towards the style of a Southern Harmony album. So yeah, I was pleased with this one, but I again have to say that this won't become ever part of my top 3 Black Rose albums. Stripes, Snapshot. The first album, excellent album. This is like a rhythm and blues, sort of a turbocharged version of Dr. Feelgood and early Rolling Stones. So yeah, excellent stuff. Really, really good. Really young guys making really great album. And then Marko Haavisto, Antti Vuorenmaa, Kapteeni Kidin haamu. When it comes to explaining what kind of music something is, has always been very difficult to me. I mean, when I can remain in like in general terms, like something is heavy metal or something is soul, that's simple. But when trying to be more specific, it's always very difficult to me. So, for example, this one, I thought that this would be acoustic country, but it's not. Then I thought that, okay, it's acoustic blues, but actually only the title track includes blues. There's no more blues here. Well, it's acoustic, so it's folk, except it's not folk. So what the hell is this? I don't know. It's acoustic rock music, but more than that, I don't know. Good album, but I have to say that the name of the year 2015 to me has been Marko Haavisto. This is the 6th album that I have bought him from this year. I have no idea when was the last time that I bought 6 albums in 1 year from anybody. So yeah, that's definitely a record. One album that I heard about 30 years ago and I hated it. Yeah, I absolutely hated this back then, but I thought that it's a high time I'd give this one another chance. Black Sabbath, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. So yeah, 30 years has changed my mind. I like this album, but yet again, I've said it plenty of times, I prefer Ronnie James Dio period Sabbath albums to Ozzy period, and this one doesn't change my mind. Good album, I like it, but I prefer Ronnie James Dio period records. And okay, one DVD, Ritchie Blackmore story. I've had a couple of these DVDs which recounts the story of some band or some artist, and I've been disappointed in them because even though I haven't been in any way expert on those bands, the stories that they tell there have been very familiar to me anyway. So I was kind of worried that this would be the same thing, but surprisingly there's a lot of new information to me here. Maybe 60% of this stuff is familiar to me, but there was a lot of new stuff to me here. The downside of this is that many of the things that I was hoping that they would get into, like in depth, but none really goes in depth. It's really more or less everything is just mentioned in passing. There's, I would have hoped that a lot of it would have gone more in depth, more in detail. Well, in that way this was a disappointment, but like I said, there was a lot of new material here to me. Yeah, okay, let's cut this one here and I will make part 2 later on. Thanks for watching, bye.